I'm so excited to be welcoming back Chishimba. Chishimba is the managing director of Dentsu Zambia and is simply amazing. I remember when I first watched your film, and I have to say, I cried with the first Visible Voices. And I remember one of the things that you said very firmly, which was to take up space. And already you've shared a little bit, and we're going to delve deeper into some of the excitement and the things that have happened since over a year now. But are you still taking up space?
Absolutely, Pauline. I mean, I always say that I get nervous every time I say take up space, but I have no choice because what I believe is that when an opportunity is presented, the onus is on you to grasp and take advantage of anything that God presents you with. I'm taking space. I'm trying as much as possible to live in my truth. If an opportunity is presented to me, I'm going to own it. I always say fake it till you make it and you learn on the way. So I can 100% say that I am taking up space from a Zambia perspective through book club, through dentsu, and I'm living the truth that I shared a year ago.
That's wonderful. And when I think about Visible Voices and of course, yes, you've been promoted, which you mentioned. Did you have that as in your foresight when you were thinking about, what comes next? So 12, 13 months ago when we spoke, post the film, did you think about that? Was it sort of like, I have an intention that I want to be promoted and I want to grow, or did that come naturally?
I did have an intention to grow within the business. I won't say that I thought it was going to be taking up the role as managing director at the time. I was co-managing with Yamba, who has also been promoted in a different role. So I'll say yes, definitely. I have always been a person that sort of has targets that are set out. I'll give myself a specific timeline. So if I say 2 years, and I did this with my predecessor, and he was my line manager at the time, and we had multiple conversations about progression and what the next steps are. So it's definitely something that at the time I had conversations about what the next step is within dentsu, but I didn't see it coming this fast. When we filmed the short film Visible Voices, I had just taken up the role as media director, and I feel like last year was so fast paced, and just when I was getting to understand the role and understand the expectations, and it was almost like putting your big girl pants on, this new opportunity came, and the announcement came last year, and I was like, okay, hold on, what's going on? Next thing, it was we had our regional leadership summit, and one of the things was to really just throw ourselves into nominations for awards. And look, I work with amazing people across the region. And the key question that came out for you to qualify for any award was, what have you done within the network? What have you done within the business from a thought leadership perspective? What changes are you making within dentsu or outside dentsu? And the first automatic response was Visible Voices. And that is one of the main things that set me apart from my co-workers or my colleagues across the region, is being a part of this amazing initiative that puts a spotlight on people that work in our business but are making changes within their spheres, within their lives. I met amazing people who even then are challenging me to do more in everything that I do as I show up at work. I mean, like I said it the last time, to whom much is given, much is required. So definitely.
I'm so inspired just listening to you talk and listening to you putting yourself forward and really driving your career. But what is it that drives you? What is it, is it from your upbringing? Is it somebody specific? What is it that really drives you?
It's my passion. It's my passion to make a change or make a difference. I did share with you guys the last time that book clubs, it's not a new concept, but the underlying theme or the trigger was to create space for people that are otherwise marginalized within a Zambia context. And one of the things that pushed me the most, and the trigger was, we live in a very competitive market, and from a job perspective, it makes it very challenging when you come from a specific background that doesn't or might not have connections. So the biggest trigger for me and the drive is to ensure that I create space for women to be heard, women to be seen, and for us to do more. Because women are amazing. And I know everyone sort of likes to say, Chumba, yeah, pushing a female agenda. And I'm like, it's because I feel like we can do so much. We have so much potential. And from a Zambia perspective, it's so challenging in the workforce. It's so challenging in the world because there's traditional expectations, societal expectations that are put on you as a woman, rules that sort of want to govern the way that you show up. You must do this to achieve this. You must come from this specific background in order for you to achieve X. And I always say that I find that the world was created to allow men to thrive, because I always feel like men could meet up 30 minutes, have a great conversation, and from there, some will start a business operation, partnership, etc. But sometimes I feel like the world has not allowed that, or previously, because now I feel like this is the best time to be a woman, female, black, young. I always say young as well. But the world hasn't allowed or created a safe space for us to show up authentically female and to demand what we want and not be otherwise stereotyped. So that's why I said, guys, let's create a community where women can come together, and books is the underlying theme, but from there, healing. Let's build our own toolbox of people that might help you. It doesn't necessarily have to be being well connected from a family perspective. We can create a toolbox of women who today will be something great, in the next 10 years will be something great. And today you might think the person is just, I don't know, admin assistant, intern, but you don't know what their future holds. And if you build an authentic relationship with that individual that's based on books, shared stories, that's where true networking comes from. It's about authenticity and creating connections before you actually need them. That is what drives me. It's creating spaces for us to be heard, for us to be authentically women, female, black, all races actually. But it's to just be authentically us and to show up and to push community, sisterhood, and help each other just thrive in this world.
So powerful in terms of creating that sisterhood and creating that community. When you think about the young women that want to follow in your footsteps, and I'm sure there are many coming through Chichis and, that look up to you and see you, what's the advice that you give them?
Don't take opportunities for granted, and don't second guess an idea that comes to you. I believe in God, and I always say if something is put on your heart, you might more often than not have the steps to execute it. You just have to believe in it. If you are so passionate about something, more often than not, it has been put in your heart for you to execute it and run with it. Take advantage of any opportunity that is presented, and you will never know where that will lead you. And even if it's not the thing, I really believe that might be the thing that will lead to the thing you're meant to do. We're all put on earth for a specific purpose. And what we have to do is I always say, ride the waves, because this might not be it, but it will lead to the next thing. It is a platform that might lead you to the next platform and the next platform. So
I love that. It's not lost on me that we're two black women that have very different experiences and have grown up in very different countries. And I just wonder what the expectation looks like for you as a black woman in a majority black country that's literally kicking it. Well, what does that look like for you locally? Like from a local country perspective, what are the expectations for you as a black woman?
You must push, but you must be soft. You must show up every day, but you must still be feminine, in a world that's not designed to push you up. Because I always say that, and it's something that a lot of people I know in my country are trying to change, is that it's become cool to be a sister's keeper, but we're not actually sisters keepers in Zambia, or majority. So for the world, it's presented as, oh, I'm trying to pave the way for the next woman, right? So you have people who have walked the path ahead of you, but they're not actually trying to help you get up. And we've had multiple conversations in the different groups through book club that I have, where we say it's a difficult nuance because we don't have very many people who have walked before us that can guide us, especially from a corporate perspective. And Pauline, you've rightfully stated, I can come to you for career advice, but there's only so much you can help me with because you're not in Zambia. So there's things to do with traditional values, family expectations that might not be the same as you. The biggest challenge that I think we're finding here is that the world is saying, or Zambia is saying, that we are pushing female empowerment, but it's not really tackling the fundamental issues around coaching, around talking about the real issues. I'll tell you, I've had multiple conversations with people, which I find very odd now, saying, oh, so now that you're in your role and you're doing all these great things, do you actually want to get married? Do you think that's going to happen for you? And I'm like, yes. I don't understand how me pushing my career or my interest has anything to do with settling down or finding a partner. But that's a real nuance because people actually believe that if you are growing in your career at the pace that I am, that it'll be challenging for me to find a partner that will want to settle down with me. And that's what's going on. And it's like, okay, so what must we do? Must I slow down the progress in order for me to be seen in that space? Or what exactly must I do here? We need to have real conversations with male and female counterparts, right? Mentorship. We have very few people, I believe, that are willing to authentically impart wisdom on young people. And I say this loud because I have several women within book club who are complaining about the same thing. Someone will present themselves as trying to help you rise in your career in Zambia, help you with whatever issues you're facing from a business perspective, and will present to the world that they're there to help you. But it's not authentic. So it makes it harder, right, from a Zambia perspective, to lean on people who have walked before you, people who can guide you, people who can tell you what not to do in order for you not to make the same mistakes that they did. And I found that my time at dentsu, I've had more women from different parts of the world who are willing to be that support for me. And it breaks my heart because why can't I get that from the women around me within Zambia who want to support you, who won't want to hinder your progress? But I think the true thing in me understanding and giving grace is that for the longest time, there's never been enough room on the table for more women to be present. So understandably, you sort of want to stop the younger generation and say, okay, give me a couple of hours, give me a couple of years, give me 5 more years, then I'll help you, And it's a deeper conversation that needs to be had.
And I know I absolutely understand that space that you're talking about, because there is an absolute requirement for us to think about how we continue to support the next generation behind us, because otherwise what we've achieved so far means nothing if there aren't other people to carry on that work and that baton and hold space at the table. Last year, you talked about allyship and male allyship particularly. And I wonder if you see that as increasing. Have you seen more male allyship, or is there still opportunities for men to come and help on this journey of balance and equity?
There's still opportunity for male counterparts, or generally men, to help. I think men need to acknowledge the privilege that they have. I still have very disappointing conversations with Zambian men about privilege, and the privilege that is quite evidently still going on in the corporate space, social as well. There's still a huge opportunity, Pauline. We do have great men. I mean, I've shared my story from a male allyship perspective. I mean, Jamil's one of them. He's here helping me set up, and just, he doesn't need to be here, but giving his time and constantly doing it at work, and giving room for me to grow and being a true partner, a business partner. But that's just 1 to 5 people. I believe from a even government perspective, let's see more women assume positions. I love that from Zambia, you notice that the growth in female CEOs, I think there's a 10% growth in female CEOs, so leading key banks in Zambia and institutions. So I love to see it. But if you look at the ratio, it's 1 female CEO and everyone else is in leadership is a man. So I get it. It's great. We're making the change, but I would really like to see that allyship come through, that support come through. And it starts from the general conversations that we have. Where you're sitting in a bar and you're talking to your friends, what conversations are being had? And we like to put the pressure on people that assume leadership positions, but it starts with conversations at restaurants with your friends. How are you pushing females? How are you pushing the female agenda? Are you even aware of the privilege you have? Because the narrative that's currently going on is, oh, there's a female push, female empowerment. But are you aware of why there has to be a push for female empowerment? Are you aware of the privilege that it holds, you being a man, and how you can apply for a job, how you can get paid 10 times, 2 times more than a woman that will assume the same role as you? Are you taking interest in having those conversations? Are you reading stats on that, on the data? Like I said, I don't want to say there isn't movement or there isn't progression. It's there, but we can do better. And I say that not from a corporate perspective. I say that from the conversations I'm having with people at a restaurant, and I'm at the gym. Those are the conversations I'm having with people. And it makes me realize that we still have so much work to do.
I love how you integrate it into just natural everyday. And in some ways, when you started Chichis, it was a bit of a hobby. And now it's grown. It was a hobby. It was about helping friends and young women, and now it's grown. It's continuing to grow. Can you just tell us a little bit more? You mentioned a few more clubs that have started. Like, tell us a little bit more about the growth of Chichis and where it's going next.
Very exciting. And so we've grown. We have 2 more chapters. And just for those people that might not understand, what I call the different groups chapters. So each group has a maximum of 15 members. And that's really just to keep the intimacy of the different groups. So we have 3 in Lusaka now, and we have 1 in Ndola. So when we first had our conversation last year, I didn't have a Ndola chapter. So we've grown the Ndola chapter, and we have 1 in Livingston as well, and Solwezi. And these are 3 different provinces in Zambia. So that's a big deal because, Pauline, like you've rightfully put it, it was something that started as a hobby amongst friends. I called up a bunch of friends and I said, guys, why don't we grow ourselves and have meaningful conversations through books? And clearly there was a huge need in the market, and I've had women come and go, but with that, a lot of growth. So I'm very excited about that. Another thing that we have finally developed is our community wing. So I have a head of community engagement who's actually helping me now, and it stems from the conversation I had with you around mentorship. And it's very easy to sit around and complain and talk about what you don't have or what isn't present. Oh, we don't have mentors, or we don't have people who have walked before us, who are paving the way for us and guiding us. But I think it's important for us to also be the change you want to see. We're going to start and it's a cool name, which I'll share later because it's still, we haven't yet put it out there in the public. It's a sustainability project where we are currently looking for a girls' home or orphanage where we'll start a long-term book initiative with them. So this is to grow their library, start or grow a library with them, but also dedicate time where we start having mini book club sessions with them every quarter. We're not going to stop at book clubs. What we want to do is also to provide the girls in the selected home with mentorship and coaching. So we'll align them with key people in the industry that can take on a girl and sponsor her. So from a mentorship perspective, coaching, and also from an educational standpoint. Our hope is also to engage with key partners who will support the home from a financial perspective and also further basically support each girl from the selected home through university as well. And some of the mentors are going to come from our book club, because you have to be the change. And so we've opened it up to our book club members. They're helping us select. So we sent out a note actually on Monday where we asked all members that are interested and know of any homes or orphanages that would benefit from this initiative to sort of send names through, and then we'll carry out an audit and select one home. We're going to tie each initiative on an annual perspective, so dedicate time and resources to one home per year, and just obviously check in and make sure that the individuals or organizations that will sponsor the home and the girls that live in the home actually carry out what they say they're going to do. So that's something that's grown from it. And like I said, it stemmed from a problem that we had, and we said, okay, fine, so we're not receiving it, but doesn't stop us from helping younger women. We've lived life. We've made our mistakes. We know enough about the world to teach someone younger. So let's be the change. So that's exciting.
That's really exciting. Just from a hobby to literally changing the lives of young girls that could just continue to grow with so many opportunities for them. Really exciting.
Yes. And also, what I like about it is on our website, what we've done is we also want to create an opportunity for there's so many people that want to give back, but they don't know how. And how we are broadening it as well is opening up opportunities for them to be volunteers. And I always say it's human capital. Some of the attributes that I have come from earlier on in my life or career. When I just completed my grade 12, I took a gap year and I was a volunteer for an NGO. And a lot of the things that I learned from that organization, I've carried on 10 years later. And volunteers don't have to be part of our book club. They're people that well-wishers that, okay, I don't have money to give and I don't have the actual resources, but I have time. And that's enough. So we're sort of opening it up in that way. And our huge push is for women to be the change they want to see. You're complaining about something, the change you can make is to be what you wanted. Be the person you hoped you'd have as you were growing. We've also opened up a little gift store, and it's called a Book Lovers Gift Store, which is super exciting. The twist that I've done here is I'm partnering with local artists, Zambian artists, who will come on board with me and sort of tailor different sort of bookmarks, but it's a cool take. We haven't yet rolled it out in the market as well yet. So working on different collections. Some are centered on mental health, but a creative depiction of mental health in relation to Zambia. We have one that's on love. What does love mean to you, from mother to mother, sister to sister, husband to wife, daughter to father, son to father perspective, but bringing it back to things that are meaningful for us book lovers, so bookmarks, mugs, etc. And what I've done about the bookmarks is we're doing research on sustainable forms or sustainable material that we can use from an obviously sustainability perspective and environmental accountability perspective, because you gotta keep our environment safe. So I'm really excited about that. It has a lot more work than I anticipated, but really excited to roll out in the market. And then key partnerships. So we've now partnered with additional brands from the last time we spoke, who are offering our book club members exclusive discounts. So if you are a book club member, you have access to specific products or services from partners that are under our list, and you get those services or products at a discounted rate. And the goal really is to just open up audiences to specific partners. We're also very specific with the people we engage with. but really trying to push women that have businesses to come on board and offer them an audience that they wouldn't ordinarily have access to. And the 10-year plan is to build a school. So I have started conversations with key stakeholders for now. I have to make sure that happens. It's one of the main reasons why I opened up a website as well. It's because in really opening it up to investors as well that will come in, and I have a huge plans about the type of school, technical school that I want to build in Zambia, and I think it's possible.
Love the ambition. I love your ambition and your energy, and that drive and passion that you have. From one seed, you've created an entire ecosystem, and it's just so amazing. Like, I'm listening and thinking, wow, what have I not done? There are so many things I need to be doing because I need to follow in this woman's footsteps. I can't help but think, your professional and your personal life have both grown, and it feels like it's in balance with each other. That as much as all of the work that you've done to expand the book club and the plans and the activities that you have has grown at the same time as your career, you haven't had to compromise one over the other. It feels like they've both happened at the same time. What's the next step for you? What's your next dream job going to be? Clearly at Dentsu, but what's the next dream job? Like, where do you go from here?
My dream job, I actually wrote myself, I call it a love letter, and I've emailed it to myself, and I've put a reminder, but it's like, I can only read it in 10 years, like what my plan looks like. So I know exactly what my dream job looks like. It's something that combines my creative marketing skills and my drive for social impact. And it's to make a change. I want to make lasting social change in Zambia. It's definitely around policy. It's definitely around shifting narratives. It's about shifting culture. I'm not sure what that looks like right now. I do believe that something will come up, but it's a combination of creative marketing, social impact, but making lasting change. And that change is from a policy perspective. Yeah.
You have to have the policy change, almost the infrastructure and the foundations on which to build. So I love that. Clearly, you're going to be like a prime minister in the future. Or
from your mouth to God's ears.
I see that coming. I really do. So I love all of the energy of what you bring. And if you consider when we started Visible Voices, I mean, this idea of telling real stories was what we wanted to do. And it's a call to arms. It's a call to arms for our people. It's a call to arms for our industry, for wanting a better society. And if I asked you that question around, if you could change something in the world, what would you change?
I would change the inequalities that exist, especially for marginalized individuals. From a Zambia perspective, I do sometimes feel that, to a large extent, that sometimes we don't realize how caged we are as women. There's a lot, it's almost like you have a cloth, right? And it dates years back, right? And the thing is, we have conversations with our moms, aunties, grandmothers, etc. So you could be on a path of progression, but if you're constantly being told about narratives that restrict you as a person or as a woman, you continuously live in conflict. I feel that that's what's going on. I did share with you some of the first conversations that people would have with me upon assuming this new role. And I'm like, what has that got to do with anything, right? But that is the reality. That is the world that I live in Zambia. The first thing that someone sees when they see a 31-year-old managing director is, do you want to get married? Is that something you're thinking about? Because the way your career is going. And it's like, how is that a real question in 2024? But that is the world that I live in. So I would change the inequalities that exist for marginalized people. I would change, and that would change the narrative and conversations that we have and make it a different world for us.
And I'm going to ask you one final cheeky question. Our industry is quite something. I was in it a little while ago, and then I went out and I came back, and it has such power to help achieve that, some of that change. But when you think about our industry specifically, for those that want to get into it, for those that are in it, is there one call to action that you would give to people within our industry to help advance gender equality and change those inequalities?
I feel like a lot of people that talk about the inequalities that exist don't actually have tangible insight on it. They don't know what they're talking about. It's a I think, me and my boys, or we believe and if we talk about females specifically, I would say read about it. Actually understand it before you throw your opinion out there. And only then, and it'll help you. You know how industry is based on reading. You must always read. Keep yourself informed. So before you actually throw out an opinion, before you actually say this is what you believe in, take some time to read. Find an interest. Force yourself to be interested in the topic of inequality from a broad perspective. Read on it, have conversations about it, listen to people's opinions, and then come and present what you believe in. Do not throw baseless opinions around because you don't know who you're affecting. So that's the one piece of advice I would say for that specific topic.
This has been absolutely amazing. Chishimba, I want to thank you, for coming and sharing this deeper insight into your world, into your life, and into all the amazing changes that you are making. I can see the impact and I feel the impact, and I just want to go and change the world. Let's do this. Next time I come to Zambia, so especially when you open the school.
Exactly, you have to come. And I think you guys are doing it already, right? And that's the thing, is that sometimes we think it's a great thing that you have to do. It's taking the time to create this platform. It's taking a time to share these stories. We don't know. We're doing this, and we've had multiple conversations. Me, you, Nicola, we've talked about this it's been over a year now. But this is exactly it. It's creating this space. Now we have Paddy there. He understands this story. And my hope is that more people will open their mind to actually listen to the stories that people have to share. So Pauline and the team, you guys are changing the world already by creating this space. And I am honored, honestly, to have been selected, to be seen. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for both to Jamil, who's there helping you, of course, to Nicola and Paddy, our producers here on Visible Voices, and of course to you, Chishimba Musonda, who is our Managing Director for Zambia. I thank you, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Wow, what an amazing conversation you've just been listening to. I am thrilled by the depth and the insight that we were able to hear from Chishimba. You can see how challenging it is to continue to break new ground as a woman, as a Black woman in Zambia. And I loved her advice to continue to take up space and for every person to be the change that you want to be. This has been Visible Voices, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.